And a good Monday afternoon to you. Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights. This weather video driven by 802cars.com, representing 802 Toyota, Twin City Subaru, and 802 Honda. They're all located off of Exit 7 on Interstate 89. Been struggling with some bandwidth issues. Currently, I have some folks working on that for me at Consolidated. Also, just want to give you a heads up that there's still smoke across the parts of the West Coast, and the California wildfires are still producing very, very nasty air quality. Of course, we have a ridge of higher pressure and several storm systems that are kind of working on in. One of them also is in the lower latitudes. This is a separate stream, and this is going to be forcing a series of kind of weather systems, and some of that getting into mainly southern Vermont. Over the next 36 hours, we could see a little bit of snow and maybe as much as 6 inches across the southernmost counties of the state. Northern areas not seeing quite as much, only a dusting in the far northern areas as it looks right now. And this will be followed by another system, an Alberta Clipper system, that'll then swing in. So kind of a one and then a two punch. And then after that, we could also see some snow squalls and also some gusty westerly to northwesterly winds. And that may raise marginal issues right now, as it looks right now, in the higher terrain of the Green Mountains, mostly in the southernmost counties, along that immediate eastern and southeastern slope. So at 500 millibars or hectopascals, you can see that is a very large ridge along the west coast. This is interior areas of the basin, the Great Basin region, producing sometimes offshore winds, a little area of low pressure. But notice the big strong ridge of higher pressure along the west. And then, of course, everything dives down, bringing colder air to the east and so forth. We have a bit of a trough here and a couple different streams, as I mentioned. Southern stream, again, is going to push along to the south and east of us. The northern stream is going to drop this Alberta Clipper system and follow it very closely. Let's look at some of the 6-hour increments of the forecast on the European model. Okay, so we can see some of the little bit of precipitation exiting the southeastern corner of the state. This is valid at 1 o'clock this afternoon on Monday. Then we get this little flare-up, and just taking a look, it has kind of an elongated area of precipitation that stretches down out ahead of a cold front. You can see the blue dashed lines here. These will also be 0-degree isotherm, and so it's cold enough to snow here, warm enough to rain here. You get that mix right on the edge. So pushing this a little bit further, 6-hour increments, you can see that that moves across southern Vermont, and it's good for 0.15 of an inch of melted precip. That's good for 2, 3, 4 inches, maybe as much as 6 inches. You put it all together by the end of 36 hours. That system a little bit more expansive and wraps up as we get into the overnight period tonight. And then into the day, it looks like on Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, it's exiting. We have that secondary system, that Alberta Clipper system that moves through here, 1,005 hectopascal, not a real strong one. But it will produce some sharp winds, potentially some snow squalls. And some of those snow squalls may have gusty winds with gradient winds as high as 40 miles per hour, mostly affecting the southern areas of Vermont. We'll have to watch northern areas. So we're getting into that marginal gradient wind gust. Then a big area of higher pressure. It's, of course, pushing the cold air in. This has had really incredibly cold temperatures up to the north and west of us. So this is another reinforcing shot of very cold air. But it will bring an extended period of dry weather. We're talking basically Friday and Saturday. And then beyond, once that area of low pressure begins to push off, you can see the warmer red dashed lines here. Those are temperatures above the freezing mark. And yes, we have, look at this puppy here. This is loaded for bear, a lot of moisture. We're talking just 6-hour increments, over an inch in many areas. This would suggest also some thunderstorm activity. So take a look at this track. This is beyond the period, beyond Saturday. So here we have Saturday itself. And then it moves in, it looks like, as we get into Saturday night, Sunday. You can see that some pretty good moisture, although it weakens and then pushes north. So we're talking about potentially some mixed precipitation types. And you can see another shot of precipitation to follow that. That's going to happen early next week. This is valid, looks like, on about 18Z Tuesday, about 1 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. And then, of course, colder air to follow that. So looking at precipitation type, you can see that little bit of blue in the parts of southern Vermont and a little darker blue. That's a little heavier precip. Then that moves on out. Keep an eye on the precipitation type here. It's kind of critical because we do have snow showers and flurries to follow. A little bit of an isolated flurry or two on Thanksgiving Day. and then high pressure builds in for some really good weather. But watch the rain. This is in green now. You can see that. And that green means rain. Not good. Over cold surfaces with snow on the ground, that means ice. Of course, this is 7 days out, so a lot of things could change. And the weather modeling computer world here has been kind of shaky. So here's our next incoming weather system for the early to mid part of next week. You can see that it comes in with mostly rain, probably freezing rain, certainly nasty travel conditions, a little bit of wet snow as well, but it's a quick hitter, at least as it looks right now. We're talking about 9 days out. And a quick look at some precipitation. Of course, this is 2/10, 4/10, 6/10, and so forth. You can see that the total precipitation during this entire period, centered on Montpelier, KMPV, that is going to be under really, it looks like about maybe 4,500 of an inch total precipitation. That's good for probably about 3, 4, 5 inches of snow, totally entrained here, accrued through that period of time. And with that is sort of this 1-2 punch we talked about. This is going to be during the night tonight, and then during the day tomorrow. And then it tails off. Little flurries exit. And we have the second. This is the Alberta Clipper system. Again, this is centered on Montpelier, Vermont. And then a drying trend with a couple fairly nice days. Thursday, not quite as nice. A couple isolated flurries, but mostly Friday into the day on Saturday. And then, as you can see, beyond that point, we have a little bit of the GFS is on top of seeing some of that precipitation that's going to be moving on in. So this could be a real serious situation for ice. In terms of the weather, the best news of all is here in California. We get a nice shot. You can see a little bit too much probably, but this is probably going to promote a lot of mudslides and issues with erosion where those fires have been, the campfire. We're looking at some much needed rainfall. It's going to have to happen. It's coming in. There's going to be problems with the flooding. Now, in our neck of the woods, you can see a bit of a storm track that kind of shoots off mostly to the south and east of Vermont. We're kind of right on the fringe, and indeed, it's the southern 2 counties that see the most snow, potentially up to 6 inches. And in the temperature forecast department, this is first of all looking at the 850 hectopascal temperature. You can see this is about the top of Mount Mansfield. This is the 0 degree center line. Anything colder than that, and the minus side means it's going to snow, frozen precip. Anything warmer than that is going to be rain. And you can see this is problematic here with liquid falling onto frozen ground means ice. Taking a look at the daily temperatures, you can see one major dip in temperature. This is the high temperature tomorrow, low, high on Wednesday, low, and so forth. And you can see that temperatures are going below 0 degrees as we head toward Thanksgiving morning, probably Friday morning as well, and then continuing to make a nice rise and an upward tick in temperature. So one particular roller coaster ride for this entire period. Next 5 days, high temperatures compared to normal. This is maximum temperature anomaly. You can see we're running about 9 to 12 degrees below normal for this time of year. And 3 days later, it's a little bit different, 9 to 12 degrees, again, below normal, with the coldest air beginning to exit out off the eastern seaboard with that area of higher pressure. And then, of course, we're going to start to see a warm-up. We're seeing some of that evidence in the upper Midwest, the Great Plains, and so forth. Once again, the planet as a whole is above normal pretty much everywhere. The coldest spots, North America. This is coming in from Canada and mostly across the central part of North America. You can see that Europe, Africa, pretty much above normal. Even Asia, this is as cold as it gets. So they're not seeing a whole lot. The southern hemisphere is relatively warm, and they're seeing their summer, of course. Antarctica. But this is our neck of the woods. Coldest weather on the planet, anomalously, is located in North America. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.